Well, in a moment, we'll speak to our correspondent Ryan Thompson in Frankfurt. But first of all, let's go to Julia Chapman in Moscow to talk about developments with the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. So, Julia, this project has been 5 years in the making and it hasn't been without obstacles, but the completion of it is a big win for Russia.
That's right. Gazprom, the state-run energy company, announced this morning that the final steps of construction had been completed, and that is a big PR victory for Russia to achieve this step that the US for so long was desperate to stop from happening. From 2019, there were sanctions introduced by the US against companies involved in the Nord Stream 2 pipeline project. That, of course, did slow it down, but didn't quite manage to stop it. And when Joe Biden came into power, he rolled those back under an agreement with German Chancellor Angela Merkel. But the concerns here really are that the pipeline, which doubles Russia's gas export abilities to Europe, gives Russia simply too much power over European energy security. There are also big concerns from Ukraine that it will lose out on its lucrative $3 billion a year transit fees, because, of course, there is also a pipeline going through Ukraine from Russia. Ukraine's concerns were somewhat mollified by the deal struck by Germany and the US. But, of course, the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, said today that he will continue to oppose Nord Stream 2 until the gas does start flowing.
And Julia, there are reports that that gas could be flowing as soon as next month. But what can we expect to happen next?
That is the hope, that is the rumor that it will get underway as soon as possible. But there are still some hurdles, despite the fact that construction is now complete. There are regulatory issues at stake here. There, of course, needs to be a license, an operating license for Nord Stream 2 by the German regulator. And there are some concerns about the bundling, the ownership of both the pipeline and the gas by Nord Stream 2. So some anti-monopoly concerns there. They may need to make some sales of part of their assets here in Russia. But the expectation is that that will all be sorted out in the next couple of months, and that before the winter season gets underway, they will be overcome and the pipeline will actually start being operational.
Julia Chapman in Moscow, thank you very much.
Well, to expand on what Julia was saying, the $11 billion project will double Russia's gas exporting capacity to Europe via the Baltic Sea, bypassing Ukraine. Opponents fear that the pipeline will make Europe more reliant on Russian gas, which already meets over a third of its demand. Others believe it could provide some relief to markets facing a supply crunch ahead of winter, with prices already at record highs. Over to Frankfurt now and Ryan Thompson. So, Ryan, this is something of a win for Chancellor Angela Merkel, isn't it?
Absolutely. The Chancellor has supported this project over the last 10 years, and she's really faced a lot of pushback, both domestically, but also really within the international community, including from allies, notably the United States, who put sanctions on the table at one point. Finally, there was a truce reached in July after the Chancellor Angela Merkel was able to speak with President Joe Biden. They were able to put some assurances in place that they could hold back on the sanctions so long as Germany offers to make sure that Russia does not use this pipeline as a weapon. That was very important to the United States, and that allowed the Chancellor to really bring this to the next step. Of course, the reason she's been pushing for this project for so long is there's a number of dates on the table for the changing of energy in Germany, but also in Europe. For example, in Germany, we're just a year out from the next nuclear reactor being deactivated, meaning there will be no nuclear energy being produced within Germany. And by 2039, Germany will have to shut down all coal-fired electricity production. So there are some target dates here to really ensure that this project allows to bring in reliable and more sourceable energy for the industry of Germany.
And Ryan, how soon can we expect a green light from the regulator?
Well, you heard a little bit there from Julia. The line in Germany is that there is at least a few months to go because there's technical testing, there's certification, there's authorities coming in, making sure that this pipeline can get the green light and can be switched on. We are hearing a couple months. Gazprom, at least in their German arm, is saying that they don't have a specific timeline at this point. But the interest for them is that every month that this pipeline goes by sitting unused, it means that billions of cubic meters in gas is not being sold to Europe. We think that their target is likely to be by the end of the year. That would put them dead in the middle of winter, when there still is a chance to sell this gas for the European homes and businesses that are looking for it to heat up, and it really would allow them to at least make some significant sales before the year end.
Thanks so much, Ryan. Ryan Thompson in Frankfurt.